I must be straight up with you today. I was torn between two different passages for our daily devotional thought today. I'll just throw this one at you to start with. Isaiah 42, verse 4, talking about Jesus. He will never falter or lose heart until justice prevails throughout the earth. I love that. Jesus never loses heart. Jesus never gets discouraged. Now, beloved, you and I fight with discouragement sometimes. But if we'll spend more time with Jesus, he never gets discouraged. Have you ever been around someone who never gets discouraged? That's what it's like hanging out with Jesus. So sometimes if you're discouraged, forgive me, but maybe you need to spend a little bit more time hanging out with Jesus. But what I want to focus on today is from Ephesians chapter 4, beginning with verse 11. Now, these are the gifts Christ gave to the church: the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, and teachers. Their responsibility is to equip God's people to do his work and build up the church, the body of Christ. Then we will continue until we all come to such unity in our faith and knowledge in God's Son, so that we will be mature in the Lord, measuring up to the full and complete standard of Christ. Then we will no longer be immature like children. We won't be tossed and blown by every wind of new teaching. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like truth. Instead, we will speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of his body, the church. Now, I want you to notice, he says, then. He starts with the word then in verse 14. Now, what is the effect of that word within our thinking? Well, there's been the work of the fivefold ministry in your life. This is why Satan always wants to get you separated from spiritual leadership. He wants to get you to abandon the house of God and stay home. He wants to get you listening to gossip and lies against your spiritual leaders. He wants to separate you from the fivefold ministry, because the fivefold ministry does two things in your life. Number one, it brings you to maturity, but number two, it equips you for works of service so that you can minister to other people and so that you can serve God. Now, oversimplifying things a little bit, but not much. So you need to be careful about letting people separate you from the spiritual leadership God has placed in your life. Because the effect of this spiritual leadership, bringing us to maturity, training and equipping us so that we minister to each other and bring all of us to maturity, the effect of that are the marks of maturity. Now, the marks of maturity are very easy to recognize. The first one in verse 14 is doctrinal stability. We're not tossed and blown by every wind of new teaching. You know, it amazes me how strange doctrines fly around the world. Like, oh, we shouldn't tithe anymore. And people get all caught up in an anti-tithing movement. And, forgive me. I was talking to Brother John about it not too long ago. I said, Brother John, in the beginning of your ministry, you were teaching people about tithing. And now, at the very end of your life, before you go to heaven if Jesus tarries, God has re-anointed that mandate, giving you all new revelations on tithing and taking and it's re-oiled the whole truth for a new generation. He's got this beautiful teaching on the tithing, the Abrahamic tithe. But it's amazing, all the weird doctrines that float around. People who fall into that are showing their immaturity. They don't bounce around. Some people, their doctrines change like a ping pong ball bouncing back and forth across the table. Whoever is talking to them, their doctrines change. That's a mark of spiritual immaturity. Secondly, spiritual maturity means you're not easily influenced by wrong people, not just wrong doctrines, wrong people. He said, we will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like truth. There are people that are really good at manipulating us. They manipulate our emotions. They manipulate our prejudices. They manipulate our attitudes. They're really, really good at it. They're lies so clever they sound like truth. When you begin to understand how common this is in Scripture, one of the marks of maturity is you don't buy all the lies that come along. I mean, there's so many rumors, there's so many lies, there's so much conspiracy stuff. You don't fall into that. And I love how New Living puts it. You are not, when people try to trick us with lies so clever, they sound like truth. Lies so clever, they sound like truth. Instead, how does a mature person act? We speak the truth in love. Now, people may not like the truth, but we still speak it. We speak the truth in love. And secondly, every day we are becoming more like Christ. Something to think about today.